Welcome back, everybody. I'm Artosis, and alongside me, Wolf. Well, you might be wondering, where is Tasteless? Because you just got here. Tasteless, I'm sad to say, is in Six City.
He's in Six City, which
that wasn't your best Six City voice.
No, well, it's quite sick for me though to be here. Six City. Well, I don't know.
You got to get more into it. I'll teach you after the
we'll
cast.
talk during a 5-minute break or something. I'm not good at Six City.
That's okay. It takes a lot of talent, a lot of skill to be able to Six City correctly.
I just have my immune system's too high for that. But YoDa versus Soulkey is our next match, and this is going to be a pretty exciting one for me because I think YoDa is a player whose multitasking is almost unparalleled in this matchup these days.
Yeah, he's been doing so fantastically well, but Soulkey's one of these Zergs that he's just like this next level Zerg, right? There's like 5 or 6 Zergs right now where I'm like, you guys are better than every other Zerg easily. And he's one of those. Yeah. So I don't know. I think a lot of this depends on which YoDa's coming to play today.
I know you talk about his statistics versus Zerg, or I was mentioning those earlier, and he's actually 5 and 10 overall in GSL. But a lot of those were in Wings of Liberty. But in Heart of the Swarm, he is looking stronger than ever in this matchup. And I'm really, really looking forward to see what he's going to bring to the table here.
Yeah, you know, is this going to be the YoDa from Clone Wars, or is this going to be the YoDa from Empire Strikes Back?
Exactly. Is he going to fly around in all sorts of different directions in the air with a lightsaber, or is he just going to fade away and disappear?
Yeah, we will see. That's coming up. Soulkey, he's been doing just very well overall. He's had very deep finishes. In fact, he is the last person I can remember. He beat Innovation in a best of 3 ZVT at some point.
Yeah.
And that's impossible, so I don't know how he did that, but that was a while ago. I guess that was right before it was impossible.
Exactly. It was one Innovation.
That was the last moment it was possible during.
Yeah, he was about to break some barriers there. Major was talking about it. That was around that time, I think.
Yeah.
You can see Soulkey has an interesting set where all of his matchups are 66.7% win ratio. That's kind of absurd.
That's wild. I bet you that means overall his ratio is 66.7.
Yeah,
it's like, no, it's 70. What? We round up for that one.
Star Station is our opening map, which is a very, very large map. What are your thoughts on this map?
Okay, well, Star Station, I think that most of what there is to talk about strategically on this map is the location of the third base, because it is so wide open and so easily attackable. And I think that's the major thing, because that's going to be an area that YoDa can come in at many different angles. Of course, the same can be said if Soulkey gets aggressive as well. So the third base is going to be the point of contention here.
Yeah, and most Terran players are not going to be able to drop that command center on the low ground as quickly as they would have on a map like Akalon, for example.
Oh, certainly, yeah. This is like the polar opposite of Akalon, this map.
Very big, 4-player, hard to take third. Let's jump into this first match. YoDa versus Soulkey, Terran versus Zerg here at the GSL Kodes.
Right up here in the top left, our Terran player, he is
LGIM YoDa.
May the mule be with you.
I like that.
That was the funniest thing ever. They had like
really
cool
good.
things said for everyone that's just like, mule be with you. All right. Down here in the bottom right, our Zerg player, he has a key to my heart. He is
웅진 스타즈 Soulkey.
That's odd. I would have thought he was the key to your soul.
I don't have a soul.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
I'm actually a robot from the future, Wolf. I'm sorry.
Well, why do you have a heart?
Because I need it to pump blood. What?
But you're a robot. Robots don't have blood.
I'm a bionic robot.
So you're like the word for this is cyborg.
I'm a Cylon, man.
What is a Cylon?
Have you not watched Battlestar Galactica?
No.
Whoa, Wolf, you're messing up.
Okay, I guess I gotta get on that.
You need to watch Battlestar Galactica.
I'm just like sitting here. I'm like, I think the word is cyborg. I don't know.
No, man, Cylon. Look, you need to watch Battlestar Galactica. I'm not messing around here. You are actually messing up right now.
I'll have to take a look at this.
I was never disappointed in you before this moment, Wolf.
I'm so sad to have disappointed you. But
that's okay. I'm going to let it go because I'm going to give you a few weeks to start.
Okay.
Okay, and then you're going to love it. I swear. Anyways.
CC first versus Hatch first is the build collision here, and they're at cross spawns.
Well, it looks like we're going to see a pretty economical game. We'll probably see YoDa go up into factory, then a third command center. You know, when you go CC first, it's pretty rare to stay on 2 commands because any aggression that you were going to launch is going to be so late that Zerg is going to kind of laugh at it.
Yeah, for sure. What timings we normally see on this map is when the Zerg player takes the 4th. For example, in the bottom center at the 6 o'clock, that's where we're probably going to see the 4th base from Soulkey. And that location gets attacked with some timings with 2-2 and a bunch of Widow Mines oftentimes. And that's when things get really scary for the Zerg player.
Yeah, but as you said, you know, this is cross-map, so that's definitely going to help him out quite a bit. You know, as long as he gets a nice creep spread out and realizes relatively early on that this is a super fast command center, which it looks like he's going to because he has an Overlord on its way. You know, I feel like he's going to be ready. This is like the perfect scenario, I feel, to really see which one of these guys is going to win in a macro game.
Yeah. And there's the bunker going down.
Yeah.
He's just going to get that out super early. One thing to note is that he's not going for the double barracks for after the command center first. He's going to go into gas instead. He takes 1 gas.
Yeah, I prefer that personally. I don't like the double barracks follow-up to the command center first. Yeah, like, you don't actually need that many Marines, right?
Yeah, very true. You get enough Marines to go down there, stave off the first few Zerglings, and then get in the bunker, and you can start your factory much faster this way.
Yeah. It's just overall, I would say, a much more versatile build than those 2 Raxes. You know, maybe on a smaller map or something, the 2 Raxes could be reasonable. But he is grabbing a 2nd gas along with that factory. Will we see a 3rd command center going up?
Probably so. These Lings are not going to have a fun time here. Do scout the bunker.
Unless they're masochists, that was not the best. But at least they see where he's at and that he has a bunker up there already.
Yep, very true. SCV is coming over here. He wants to scout the timing of the 3rd base. And since he does not see one right now, he's going to know speed's going to be out a little bit earlier. And starts a full wall as a result.
Yeah, it's a good choice. I mean, if you let Lings run in and surround that first bunker, then the Zerg is going to get so far ahead because your Marines are going to die, your bunker's going to go down, and Armory!
This is not what I expected to see at all.
All right, well, you know, I wasn't either. I thought we'd see a little bit quicker 3rd command center. He's definitely still going to go for a 3rd command, but it looks like we are going to see Hellbat drops.
Yep, Hellbat drops so strong. I just asked Flash, but he's definitely going to put on some heavy aggression with those Hellbats.
Yeah.
And they're pretty difficult to defend. You always have to make sure your queens are targeting correctly so you can get rid of those medevacs. Otherwise, it's just going to bounce into the medevac over and over again. Generally
speaking, you're always going to deal damage with this, but right now Soulkey is actually doing a very good counter by getting that Roach Warren up early. So that's going to help out a little bit, but we'll see how quickly he figures out exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, the only Overlord he has nearby is the one to the right side of the map, and since he's skipped Overlord speed entirely, which is pretty common, he's not going to be able to use that Overlord to get in here and scout.
Yeah. Well, Hellbat's on the way already. Some Hellions moving out as well. 6 Roaches coming down. Do you think, Wolf, that we're going to see a mech follow-up or a bio follow-up?
You know, I think we're going to see a mech follow-up, but it's a bit early to say. There's the stim, so now we know the answer.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit more common to see the mech follow-up, but YoDa deciding to not do so. That's fine.
Yeah, I like the bio follow-up right now better because it's a little bit better figured out. It's a lot easier, more comfortable to transition bio Widow Mine instead of trying to go into mech.
Certainly.
Especially on a big map like this one.
Yeah, this would be a little bit harder for mech to actually march across here. Soulkey would certainly have a long time to prepare. And
there's a lot of open spaces. There's not a lot of choke points to deal with on this map with mech.
Well, we do have the boosted medevac coming out with these couple of Hellbats in it. Now, he's cleared the map mostly. He's dodging the watchtower that he doesn't have. And this is going to come as a bit of a surprise to his opponent.
Yep. Getting that watchtower in the south is so important.
Now, the Overlord did peek in and see the engineering bay and 3rd base timing, so he should know that something is off, because that is slow E-bays and that is a slow 3rd command center for CC first.
Exactly.
So he should be getting into a pretty defensive position here.
Starts a Baneling nest, which is not what he wants here. Here come the Hellbats. Ooh. Gets 1 drone immediately, and it will take these Zerglings out no problem.
Yeah, in fact, he's going to go over here and get a few more drones. Some Roaches are coming down, but so far, a successful drop.
Yep, the Hellions coming as well. He's going to be doing both at once. Hellions at the 3rd base and Hellbats in the main. He needs to boost those in. There he goes.
Yeah, looks like he's going to almost get... Yeah, it does, in fact, get a few drones there.
He wants to target these down in the corner. Oh, gets so many of those.
That's right, and we do have a frontal attack at the same time with a few Marines he has, as well as a few Hellbats.
You know, if he had one more medevac with that attack with the Hellbats, he could have done so much more, but with no healing power, he has to back off. But another drop goes down, gets a first drone.
And you know what? He's doing okay with this so far. He hasn't lost anything really himself, and he has killed 7 drones. Not as many as he was hoping for, but it's reasonable damage.
Yeah.
Now
he still has the Hellbats alive and the dropship alive too.
Yeah, that's actually very important and is going to come into play a little bit later on, because as we see, it looks like we're going to have a timing attack coming up from Soulkey. He's getting Roach speed as well as Baneling speed, and I love this as a counter, knowing that his opponent shouldn't be quite ready for it.
Ooh, getting some good Hellbat shots off here on these Lings, but the Roaches are the big problem. He needs to boost away with that medevac if he can.
And wow, he's killing quite a few of those Lings off, and that does make a big deal. Oh, hold on, we actually have the Hellbat drop. Oh, the Queen gets it.
Really nice targeting here by Soulkey with his Queens, always making sure he can pick off the hit points as best as he can.
And you know what? I like the position right now of Soulkey. I think that this Roach Baneling attack with all the speed and the 1-1 is going to do phenomenally, especially since his third base is
so
actually
open.
being mined from. This is an overextension by YoDa.
Yeah, YoDa did not do enough damage, and he did not kill enough army units. He's already seen a large army to take this base down here. It's a little bit desperate of him to try to take that command center, and I think it's going to be ending up being a mistake for him.
I certainly have to agree with you there. Now, he's actually making bunkers out in the open. This is not the right scenario from this, to be honest. I really feel like this is going to be such a strong attack from Soulkey here. There's not a single siege tank, and this does well against Widow Mines, man. If he just triggers those well enough before he gets in there, the Banelings are going to deal insane damage.
And there's only 6 Widow Mines out at this moment in time. He's going to 7 and 8 right now, but the splitting on the Widow Mines is good. I like that a lot, but you know, like you said, if he triggers them correctly, this should be relatively easy for him to do damage on. He's just got the better army by far.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. He's going to make a lot of, well, hold on. He's actually going to start running forward right away. Triggers 1 off. Nothing done quite yet.
Here come those Banelings on the right side, though. Widow Mine's going to get a shot off here. Not the best one.
And he's doing pretty well so far. Look at that. The Baneling Cloud's still alive, just sending a few ahead.
I love the tanking with the Roaches, not wasting a single Baneling here until he has to.
Yeah, this is very solid. A few Banelings actually hitting that Marauder. Not the best, but here he goes. Going up that ramp a bit. The Roaches and Lings holding everything else back, and now he's running up. Nice play so far from Soulkey.
Excellent hits here, though. You know, with those Roaches, I think that he's going to force a lift here potentially. He sends the Lings on the main base instead.
And it looks like YoDa's going to end up holding this reasonably well. Better actually than I thought he would.
Yeah, he went up into the main base with his Roaches instead of trying to force a lift on the third. I think that could have been the better choice, but he has more Lings coming through, and now he's got the ability to stop the reinforcements.
Well, we do have this little flank coming up. The SCV's actually coming out for battle as well, and the Lings all stuck behind the Roaches right there. Kind of a big deal.
He doesn't want those SCVs to get hit by the Widow Mine, though!
Oh, and in fact, quite a few of them do. We have 33 workers killed so far. A huge deal.
Yeah.
But it looks like this is finally cleaned up.
Cleaned up, but I mean, the Harvester count, the disparity now is massive. He's still not even able to mine from his third base just yet.
Yeah, you know, YoDa actually dealt with this far better than I thought he would.
Yeah, I thought he was going to roll over and die.
I thought he was pretty much going to have to GG after it, but you know, he was a little bit too greedy. He dealt with it very well, but this Soulkey has done a ton of damage. He's got 2-2 on the way, and his Spire is almost done. Yeah. A very hard spot for YoDa to come back from.
YoDa's going to have to turtle hard on these 3 bases and hope that he can get those upgrades out. Did he cancel +2? I think he may have actually done that. Yeah, he canceled. No, he finished it. Okay.
He didn't get the armor. He just has the +2 attack, which is actually quite nice for him to have that done, because if he was on 1-1 right now and then he's going to be down 2 upgrades, plus there's mutas, plus he's down SCVs, that might be too much.
Exactly. So, you know, if he can turtle here and get to 3-3 on 3 bases and start to do some pressure, that could work out for him. But he needs more defenses set up at his third base.
You know, I think the big problem is he's lost 53 SCVs. So even though he defended, he didn't GG right then. Now that I look at it, he's got 16 SCVs. What do you do with 16 SCVs against Zerg taking a 4th base?
Well, you try to deny it, I guess. He's going to be trying to do that. He needs to burrow that second Widow Mine. He's not paying attention at all, but there's not a lot of SCVs to kill here. This was a bit cost inefficient. I don't know how much more cost inefficient that could have been. Yeah,
it's pretty hard to actually even imagine, but does it matter right now? How many times does Soulkey have to do that for YoDa to be okay down on a sub-20 SCV count?
Yeah, that's the question. He does lose a drop, too. That's very harsh for him, and he's not going to be able to kill this 4th base. He really, really wants to. He's trying to stabilize here. You know, he's got his SCV count up to 24, but he's up against a massive disparity in harvesters.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And you know, one thing I do want to point out that we haven't mentioned is during that attack, he lost the reactor on his factory. So he's only producing one Widow Mine at a time. And that's actually a really, really big deal because that's one of the ways to come back in this matchup. A few lucky Widow Mine shots can really help you on your way, but producing one at a time, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take him a really long time. I almost feel you should start another reactor with a different barracks.
Yeah, or switch it or something.
Yeah,
like,
he really needs, you know, Widow Mines more than he needs Marines right now.
I would venture to say so. Well,
the Mutalisk count is starting to get pretty high, too. He's up to 14 at this point in time. Oh, that one could have been terrible.
well, we do have some more run-bys here, but at this point, I think, you know, even though he's trying these run-bys and they aren't quite doing anything, it'd be nice if they did, he just needs to mass up and crush armies because he's so far ahead right now that he can just keep on taking bases and beat any attack that comes out of YoDa if he doesn't waste units.
This is YoDa's one chance to really make something happen right here at this 4th base. He needs to win this battle extremely cost efficiently. Then he'll maybe have a chance to catch up here and do some damage to the economy.
Well, I like what he's doing with these Widow Mines, but we do have Soulkey playing rather smartly against it. Will he overcommit?
Yeah, big counterattack at the same time, too, with a large group of banelings. Ooh, that was not very good. But, you know, his economy is so out of control that even if he loses some units cost inefficiently, he can replace them.
Yeah. Well, some banelings rolling in right now. This is a pretty darn big attack with the Marauders there trying to hold him back.
You know, it's just there's not even very many SCVs for him to kill.
And in fact, he has unplanted his mines and he's going home with the rest of his army. I think he's... The thing is that you were right, Wolf. That was the one point where maybe he can kill the 4th off. Maybe he can get a really cost-efficient trade. But he's pulling back against a maxed out Zerg on 4 base with a sick economy, great upgrades. I don't know what he wants to do here. This is such a terrible place to be in.
Yeah, it's really rough. The one thing he can kind of guess or estimate is that his opponent's hive tech is a little bit late with all the mutas and banelings he's made. So maybe he's thinking I can turtle on 3-3, but I don't know if he's going to survive that long because at this point in time, Soulkey says, you're done, you're dead, I'm killing you. And here he goes, rolling in here. There's no spell on the Marines, already surrounded by the Zerglings.
And the Banelings rolling down towards those Marines. Some nice splitting and running back there. A lot of Banelings actually hitting Marauders.
Yeah, he's doing the best he can here.
Does pull him back into the Widow Mine a little bit. A decent hit. But look at this, just undefended up
no
in the
wall.
natural.
He's got no wall into his main base, and oh, look at those baneling hits. GG.
All right. So Soulkey definitely takes that first game very strongly. YoDa, he was too greedy,
enough,
man.
and then he was too greedy.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, the single Hellbat drop, normally we see double Hellbat drops, but YoDa actually played it a bit differently. What he wanted to do was do the single Hellbat drops while hitting the front with Marine Hellion, which is kind of a cool, new, nifty style, a new way to look at that type of aggression. But Soulkey just trampled it because he had roaches out already.
He went for an aggressive build where he wanted to attack. So not only did he have units out to attack, he was ready to defend with those same units. So he defends everything well, and then goes for the attack, the follow-up, and YoDa just did not have enough defense. He scouted what was going on. He saw with his dropship several times a ton of roaches, a good amount of banelings, saw the baneling nest, but he still decided to move his command center down to the low ground, which he could, you know, he knows he's in a position where he needs to mine from that third base, but he could have waited a little bit longer and hoped for a better defense at the natural.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is what I saw from that game from Soulkey, right, as YoDa. I want him to look at that and say, oh, wow, he had roaches ready for that. He was taking a third base. Okay, he went for the speed baneling, speed roach attack, which, of course, was a great counter, but he already had the roaches. I think he was probably already planning that.
Yeah.
So what YoDa needs to take from that game is, I have to be very wary. If he goes roaches, I need some siege tanks.
Exactly. You know, if you have the factory there, you can just switch it to a tech lab, start a siege tank. It already comes with siege mode pre-researched. Map choice, Akalon Waste, a great map for a Terran to turtle on 3 bases, much better than Star Station.
No doubt about it.
Map is loaded. Jumping into it right now. Game number 2 between YoDa up against Soulkey here at GSL Korea.